There we go.
Hey everybody, this is Chris from K-Bar Soap Company. We have Rachelle here, so it's a different perspective for some of you Marines out there. So we have a female Marine that we get to poke her brain on how it was with her experience. So we always talk about the male stuff. So Rachelle, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you got planned with Leatherneck for Life and what this is going to mean for the community moving forward?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So yeah, I was reached out to by Leatherneck for Life, and really their demographic has been you male Marines primarily, and they're starting to branch out and realize there's other veterans that are included in this. So they wanted to include that female Marine side just to get a perspective both from a blogging experience, but then also I kind of got on their ass about the apparel because there was literally one shirt for female Marines, and actually that one shirt is sitting behind you on that flag. That was the one shirt. So I've already voiced my opinion, but we're definitely going to collab from that perspective and raise voices for females, right? And make sure they're heard. So yeah, I have questions
Absolutely.
for you. I know you have questions for me. So why don't we just go into it?
Absolutely. For sure. So first one for you though is what made you, you can tell us as much as your background up until the time you decided to I don't know, go talk to a recruiter and everything else as you want, but ultimately what led you to step foot in that recruiting office, go to MEPS, do the whole 9 yards. So what led you to that point to make that decision to join the greatest gun club known to man?
Gun club. I had never thought about the Marine Corps ever. Actually, so I come from a very small town, and there is only 2 permanent recruiters in that town. One is the Army and one is the Marine Corps. And I actually wanted to join the Navy. And I was kind of a shithead when I was a teenager. Don't laugh. I heard that little laugh.
It's the Department of the Navy. You were close. You got close.
I didn't even think about the Marine Corps. But yeah, I was going down the wrong path. So that's ultimately what led me to the military in general. I'm a Army brat. I never wanted to join the Army. I already had it in my head that Army is not an option. But I went to join the Navy, and he had to travel 2 hours north to see me every time that we had meetings. And so I was sitting outside of the Navy office waiting for my recruiter, and the Marine Corps recruiter stands out and he goes, "Why haven't you thought about the Marine Corps?" Do you want to know what I said to him? What? The honest to God truth, you want to know what I said to him?
I would love to know.
Cheerleaders don't join the Marine Corps. I swear to God, verbatim. Just
and you should have joined the Air Force then. You were way off even with the Navy, right?
I should have. I didn't know. I didn't understand that kind of dynamic. So, yeah, and he starts laughing and he goes, "Let me show you the females that have joined." And he showed me the poolies and those that have graduated. And then he showed me like these badass videos, like all these females acting badass. And I was like, I could do this. And
I'm totally
there
badass.
You go.
Yeah. That's all it took though. So that was all it took to shift. Was that what? 2 minutes? He showed you that? Is that all it took to shift?
2 minutes. No. They do a phenomenal job of getting into your head that you're about to join the best. So there's literally like, once you have that in your head, and I've already had that. You have that about Marines. You kind of have that mentality.
Yeah.
And that was also why I thought, I don't know how I'll do, because I was a cheerleader. I wasn't athletic cheerleaders are athletes too, but not the, traditional, what I would think is the stereotypical, which is completely changed now. But he kind of drilled that into my head. If you're going to join the best. And I was like, well, I'm going to join the effing best. So that's what it is. That's all it is. So
and he wasn't lying, but they're sneaky like that. I'll get you that. They'll pull people from, and I think it's a whole, I never was on recruiting duty, but I heard the dress blues get a lot of people whenever they see them in those. Like, oh man, I don't want to wear that Navy shit.
I saw it from a male perspective, so I wasn't like drawn to that. But no, his name was Staff Sergeant Parker, and he did a phenomenal job. I will give him that, where he got in my head, like, if you're going to join the best. So, okay. So I did. But I have the same question to you. Is this
Yeah.
something that you always wanted to do, or is this something that, how did this come up to join the Marine Corps?
Yeah, no, that I had no inclination whatsoever, no desire, no nothing to do this. Me as well as a lot of the people in my time, like whenever I joined, it was back in the day where you could, where judges used to give you the option to, serve time or join the service or join the Marine Corps, right? So it had a lot of instances like that. That wasn't specific to me, but I was definitely on a very bad path. Graduated high school, worked for a couple of years just to get enough money to basically stay fucked up, to be perfectly honest. And then one of my best friends, he called me and told me he was going to boot camp, one of my best local friends. And I was like, dude, you're crazy. Don't go to the Marine Corps. I said, you're going to wreck the rest of your life, all this other shit. Like, because I had no idea what I was
Worst
about,
thing
right?
ever.
So I'm being perfectly
Yep.
Yes, it's like the worst thing ever. You don't want to give up your freedom and all this other stuff, right? So it's because I had no idea. But whenever he finished his 3 months on Paris Island, I went and watched him graduate. And I'll tell you what changed my mind completely and what made me make the decision was seeing how proud he was and how changed he was after just 3 months' time. That was the most eye-opening, life-altering experience that I probably will ever go through is those 3 months on Paris Island. So like I saw him and how much he changed, and I wanted to change that way. I needed something to snap me out of the stupidity, or I was just going to end up in jail or whatever, So I went and talked to the recruiter the next Friday, and I left the following Friday. Like it was like a drop dead. I called my parents. 19. I was 19, so I was a little bit older. And joined. I told him, I said, hey, I'm leaving the boot camp on Friday. Just want to let y'all know. And obviously they're like, whoa, what are you doing? But, I didn't know what I was getting into, but I always go back to, if it wasn't for boot camp, there's no telling what I'd be like. It literally I feel like it saved my life. And I feel like that's why I'm so proud to be a Marine still, even though I've been out for 16 years now. Like it made more impact on my life. And if I didn't make that decision, who knows where the hell I'd be after that. So that's why I'm just very proud of that time. It doesn't define who I am as a human being. But it greatly set the groundwork for any success I'm going to see in the future. As long as you can separate the good from the bad, that was the best experience I'll ever go through. I oftentimes wish I could go through boot camp again. Just 3 months, whip my ass back into shape, believe it or not, regain discipline. I'd do it again. You're in the best shape of your life after just 3 months, and you can't argue with that.
I can't argue with that. I would actually say MCT whipped my ass into shape more than boot camp. And I don't know, we kind of went through, I don't know if that was a part of your service at the time. But
it was.
MCT, okay, it was. Yep. So I went to Camp Geiger. That's really the only place females can go. But that was, so boot camp, please don't underestimate me. That your story is so similar to mine. That whipped my ass into shape. I came from a privileged background, and that taught me nobody gives a shit who you are. You are a recruit.
Equally worthless.
Yes, you are a piece of garbage, and we're going to change that about you. So I'm forever thankful. But MCT was different in the sense that that's when we already had, male and females, and that's when you started to get that feeling of, even from then, you had these people who just graduated boot camp, and you had to prove yourself, right? Because they have these males, these older sergeants and staff sergeants telling them, I'm sure, shit in the barracks and whatnot. And we certainly hear about that. So that was an eye-opening experience for me, where I really thought to myself, I was 19 as well, I need to grow the fuck up. I need to change. And I did it in boot camp, but this is a little different because now you're exposed to this entirely different group kind of thing. So I can absolutely appreciate where you come from there.
Yeah. And that's totally interesting perspective to have on MCT because I'm not 03. So some people still consider me a pogue. I get that. That's fine. We'll get into that later. I went through MCT as well. But there's one thing that I do remember. Now, I do remember how bad we smelled after not showering. but I swear the females were out there with us because they were there. They did it. So there's a company of males, and then there's, you know, a platoon of females, however many there are. Obviously, there's a lot less. And I just remember smelling. I felt like I smelt the females' tent. And it's no offense, like, because we're used to smelling all of us. And
Yeah.
then if y'all can't shower, it's a whole different ball of wax. Like, it's completely different hygiene wise. So that's always what, like, wigged me out. In Iraq, we didn't shower. I mean, I didn't have a shower for a month and a half. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how, as a female, you could do that and not get sick. Like, literally, I don't know how that would work, right? Like, I don't know how that would not cause problems.
I'm trying to think because, and I read the debate. So when I was in from 09 to 2012. And at the time, they were introducing the thought of women joining combat roles, but it wasn't an option when I was in. And one of the main arguments of that was our bodies, and we need more care than a male's body because we're susceptible to different things, kind of things, you know. That's just our bodies, and right or wrong, that's the way it is. And I imagine for the women, God bless you for joining combat roles, but they've had to figure that out. But I feel like they were diligent about that because that's just a thing. That is, you know, our bodies need a little bit more than your nasty bodies. So I can remember your smells. I can look at pictures. In fact, I said it twice today. I was looking at, I follow these hashtags like Marine Corps and boot camp and stuff like that. I literally said twice today, I can smell. Like, is it weird? I can smell this picture. Like, I know what that smell is.
Because the smell is so bad, you never forget it.
It's like so intense.
It is.
Yeah, we all just smell like shit all the time, I feel like.
And baby wipes are your friend a lot of times, without a doubt. That's no, it's interesting though, because like we didn't really see that many female recruits on Parris Island. We had a run-in with them one time on a rifle range. And then it was all like, oh my God, look at all those women. We hadn't seen women in like months. Like, oh my God. But you all look the same. Every one of you look the same. So it's like, they're all wearing camis, like, oh, okay, whatever. And then you get to MCT, and it's just, I mean, you know, they still try to make you look the same there too, right? There's still no level. You still got the BCGs and everything else, right? Like, you still got the same glasses. You still got, like, it's completely different. But then when I hit the fleet, after that, it was like there was no women to be found ever again. Like, no women Marines ever anywhere.
We're just hiding everywhere.
No.
Sprinkled throughout.
So after all that, what was your MOS? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, what did you do for the Corps?
So I was a 3531, which is motor T, truck it or F it, trying to keep this PG. That's open contract. Let me tell you something, Chris. I was voted as worst driver in high school, and that hasn't changed. I'm in my 30s now, and I'm still a terrible driver. So I bring this up for the sole fact that I joined open contract because, much like you, I just needed to leave. Because if I didn't leave, I'd change my mind. I would go down this wrong path, and I just didn't want to do that. So I was like, get me the hell out of here. And they said, okay, your option is open contract right now. Okay. Like, I knew what that meant. You know, I'm 19. I'm like, oh, that sounds like fun. Because your recruiter's like, you could be military police. You could be admin. You know, that's not the case. Now in retrospect, I can say that. But they assigned it to me in boot camp, and I thought to myself, oh, is the Marine Corps in for a surprise? So while my MOS was 3531, as embarrassing as this is, but I can only be candid, I'm a terrible driver. I made it through MOS school, went to Fort Leonard Wood, got my licenses, went to the fleet, drove probably twice, and then they put me in S4. And that was a
and that was it? What did you try to drive?
So I drove a 710. I was in Lejeune the whole time. Were you in Lejeune ever?
No, I was in Pendleton.
Okay. So Lejeune, for my Lejeune Marines out there, for those of you that know where that theater is, and that's really the grunts area too. So you had, mind you, I had grunts just standing around and already hating on me for that. But there's a little like turnaround there. Now I was in a 710, and I had a sergeant and a staff sergeant in there. and I couldn't fucking back up with it. Nobody got out, first of all. They should have, but nobody got out to tell me where to back up. And I just panicked. I just kind of froze, and I was like, I'm not going to hit these 100 of Marines standing around kind of thing. So I became a dispatcher.
That's not how you spent your entire enlistment, is it?
No, it's not. When I deployed, I kind of did a few different things, but so dispatcher and S4 would be more of an 0411, which is a logistics specialist.
Yep.
I would say a majority of my career was as an 0411. I just didn't lat move because I knew I wanted to do this for college. So I knew I wasn't a long-term. So why go through that kind of thing? You know, the Marine Corps wouldn't do that anyways, but yeah.
Get an enlistment and go. No, I think I know, because I mean, my school was in Lejeune, so I was in Courthouse Bay for my MOS school. So spent some time on it. Yeah, so spent some time there. So I've been on Lejeune, and then got shipped to California after that, and then I was there for the rest of my time. But yeah, that's interesting. Motor T, and we didn't have 7 tons then. We had the old piece of shit 5 tons that would rattle your teeth out, and yeah. 7 tons were just as I was getting out. So I can imagine they're a little bit different to drive, but you didn't have a ground guide. I mean, did you play, like, what is going on?
So you were supposed to. I can't remember, and maybe I did, but by that point I was just, the Marines are going to eat me alive for this, because I was rattled up, and I was like, I did it. I completed it, but my confidence was pretty much shot. And in that, I'm just a bad driver. I should have never been that MOS, but you get what you get. So I could have been food service or motor T, and I got motor T.
Absolutely. You could have been literally anything, like open contract.
So I'm definitely a better cook. I probably would have served better in that role, but it is what it is. Yep. I met
it was a good experience, though. It was something you would have never done normally, and so it was a different experience, and take it for what it was, right?
I know how to PM the F out of a vehicle, so I just want to call that out. So Mac Motor T, if there's any Mac Motor T Marines that are watching this, that's where I served. Then they put me in headquarters when they realized how terrible I drove. So.
Fair enough. I get it. There's a learning curve, no doubt. No doubt. I had a couple buddies that went into Motor T, that they went to Fort Leonard Wood. I heard that's a pretty nice place, huh?
Are you serious?
Not really, no.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to
heard it was a shithole.
You know what? That was the first place that I heard, though, that you couldn't walk. Like, this is how much they build up Marine Corps in our heads, and it sticks with you. Like, our arrogance is just with every single one of us, and that's what they want, because we are the best. We are part of a gun club that is the best of the best. And but they had gotten into our heads and said, you can't travel in a group of 6 because the Army views that as like a threat or something like that. We believe that. So if there was a group of 6, male and females, don't look at me like this was a female thing. Male and females were like, yeah, the Army really does view us as a threat. We believe that stuff.
You walked around like King Kong in Fort Leonard Wood, didn't you?
Yes. Like, we're the best of the best in this little crap hole of a town. Man, that place was nasty. Jacksonville, North Carolina is nasty, but Fort Leonard Wood definitely has like.
Never been to Fort Leonard Wood, but I can attest to that in Jacksonville. There's titty bars and bars and tattoo parlors and pretty much nothing else.
Well, I've got a tattoo I got to tell you about, but I guess we should save it for another time because we're running a little long. So I think we should say our goodbyes, but there's a lot more that I want to talk about. So
Absolutely.
Do I like wave? Did you just do this to me?
Thanks for watching.
Thanks. All right. Thank you so much. How do we stop this?